a woman named Shanna Peoples was recently honored by the White House as the National Teacher of the Year. And in her interview, she said this: "I know it sounds corny, but one of my most important jobs is to make every student feel valued. That's what we all need. We need kindness, we need understanding, and we need a sense of belonging. All we need is to feel valued, validated." From the streets of Baltimore to the young people who are running away from their homes to join ISIL, to the ongoing challenge to achieve marriage equality, the desire for validation is everywhere. To feel like we matter, we belong, that we make a difference. It's really powerful. From a therapeutic standpoint, all of our issues, or shall I say my issues, of desiring or needing validation usually come from childhood experiences. Not being seen, feeling like we need to be proving something to be something other than ourselves, to be worthy, to get attention, to be noticed, to get that A, to get that home run, to get the lead in the musical. All the things that we thought we needed to achieve to be enough. I saw this. We do not heal the past by dwelling there. We heal the past by living in the present. For some of us, those things that were told to us might feel or have felt very real. And they might have actually been real, as in, do this and be worthy of my love. It might have been as literal as that. For most of us, however, I'm guessing that this perception got stuck in our minds based on a moment in time or an offhanded comment that was made that created a belief in us that we were simply not good enough, not strong enough, not tall, skinny, smart, funny, whatever, fast enough. And here's the real deal. We're not there anymore. We're not in that moment anymore. It's gone. And we're not who we were when we were children. For some of us, we're not who we were when we got up this morning. So change is happening all the time. So a friend of a friend shared this with me, and I thought, this is actually where the whole talk came from. The only time you should be looking for validation is when you want free parking at the mall. If you need validation from someone else in order to feel good about who you are, well, what can I say? You're in for a long and likely painful journey, and you'll still have to pay for parking. And that's kind of a big thing. I mean, we could spend our lives comparing ourselves, torturing ourselves, doing this crazy thing of dragging ourselves through the agony of all of it. And then at the end of it all, still have to pay for parking. It all comes down to that. And yet we do this thing. Some of us do this thing, this comparing thing, this needing to be recognized, this validation thing. Even though we know it causes us pain, even though we know that we are individualized expressions of the one, even though we know that we're all right. To ask why we do this implies some kind of judgment on the fact that we do it. And then I thought, oh, thanks, Rev. Let's add some judgment to the fact that we're already punishing ourselves. Thanks, have a great day. Go enjoy the sunshine. But, I pondered it for a while, and I came up with a couple theories. And one of the theories is this. We can confuse our gifts with talents. When we confuse our gifts with our talents, our ego gets involved. And anytime our ego gets involved, there's going to be trouble. Our ego is the part of us that cries out for validation. Our ego is the part of us that needs to be lifted and exalted. So last Sunday, I had my final gathering of my year-long continuing ed class at seminary. It was great. And we were doing the final chapter of Henry Nouwen's book that we spent all of March looking at. We were doing the chapter on Given. And there was some really deep discussion in that class about talents and gifts and what those words and concepts mean to each of us. And for me, what it came down to was this. A talent is something that I can do. I can sing, interpret, speak, whatever. That's a talent that I can do. And for me, talent comes with baggage. Because for one thing, just because I can do something doesn't mean I should or want to. I also feel that there are ego complications to the talents. You know, we get attached to our talents, our abilities. I'm really good at that. I'm really good at this thing. And then it becomes a situation of, and not only am I good at this, but I'm better than you, or I'm better than that person. This is why I don't really like those TV competition shows, because everybody brings something to the table. And there's not always that much talent, but that's just my ego. So anyway, so we get attached to these things, and then it becomes, I'm good at this. I'm better than you at this. I've got to be the best at this. However, a gift, to me, is something that comes from within us. It's in our souls. It's our nature. It's what we were born with. It's a quality of being that whether we cultivate it or not, it's part of who we are. And we can't really help but share it with the world, because it comes through us as our nature. It's effortless. It is who we are, and it has no attachment to the ego. So because talent comes from a place of ego, it seeks validation. See how talented I am. Recognize my talent. Look at my talent. Gifts, on the other hand, have no need for validation. However, this is where it gets complicated, and I actually totally confused myself, so we're going to have fun with this. Gifts, those with gifts may actually seek validation for the exact opposite reason of the ego. They might seek validation because of the humility that comes with the responsibility of carrying and expressing the gift. Oh, thank you. Okay. Because how I'm going to explain this is I'm going to use The Matrix, the movie The Matrix. Have you guys seen The Matrix? Most of you have seen The Matrix. Okay. So, all through the first movie, Morpheus is trying to convince Neo that he is the one. Neo's not sure about this. He's like, I don't know. It's Keanu Reeves, so it's like, what, And he doesn't have a lot of confidence in his gift. So he doesn't display the talents that he needs to be the one. And then he goes to see the Oracle, who she's so sly, she tells him he's not the one. Even though we know she's lying because he is the one. Gives him a cookie. Bye-bye. It's the kid with the spoon. So he experiences some disappointment and a little ego bruising because he's like, oh, well, Morpheus. So, okay. But he believes her, and he's like, now he's got to carry this guilt because Morpheus thinks he's the one. He's like, I'm not the one. The Oracle said I'm not the one. But he truly is the one. And so the gift of being the one is already within him. So as his ego struggles with what he's been told, no from the Oracle, yes from Morpheus, his talents continue to be pushed forth by his ego. However, his humility and fear about being the one delays his natural gifts from coming to the surface. So it turns out that his talents for being stubborn and persistent and ego-driven, his talents become the vehicle for his gift, which comes from a place of true humility and service. Whew, I got there. I did it. So does that make sense? Okay. Oh, thank God. So, bringing that all back to validation, we can, I can, you can, we all can, sometimes attach our worth or purpose or what allows us to be to what others think about us. And when I'm not feeling validated, when I'm not feeling seen, it hurts. The statistics for young people completing suicide by bullying due to not being validated for simply being themselves is staggering. And it's unacceptable. And yet each of those lives had a reason for being. They were valid. they mattered. Mark Nepo, in The Endless Practice, says, what does it mean to have a gift? For the lamp, the light it was shaped to carry is its gift. Without a light, the lamp has no purpose. For a person, we are shaped by experience to reveal the light we carry. For a person, how that light comes through us is our gift. Our call in the midst of our days is to discover the light that fills the lamp of the life we are given. Once discovered, our work is to never let the light of our gift go out. He doesn't write that the lamp needs to be beautiful or it has to be special or important. The lamp has a purpose, it carries out its purpose. As the lamp to our light within, it's not ours to fret over what other people think of us. It is our purpose to shine the light. So please do not misunderstand me. Let me just clarify something. I live every day in the struggle of validation. All of the work that I do, all of the many things that I do, all carry with it an element of, do they like me? Am I enough? Am I as good as... I better keep raising the bar or I won't be deemed worthy. On and on and on. How much power I give away in my quest for validation. And I wonder why I'm so exhausted. So recently, I was directed to another book. Let me know if that's distracting you, because it's a little distracting to me. That would be great. Thanks, Joan. Recently, I was directed to another book by Henry Nouwen called The Inner Voice of Love. And The Inner Voice of Love is his personal journal that he kept during an incredibly intense dark night of the soul. He was encouraged to publish it when those around him explained how important it was for him as a spiritual writer and teacher to show that he wasn't perfect, that he had dark nights, that he struggled. And at first he was reluctant. Man, his ego kicked in. He's like, no, I can't let anybody know about my dark time. No, I can't let anybody see that. I mean, who wants to show their vulnerabilities and imperfections? Especially after you've established themselves, you've established yourself as somebody who knows something, about spirituality and walking the life. And yet, I'm reading it now and I'm so grateful that he published this book. In it, Henry introduces us to what he used to keep himself alive in that year, and he called them spiritual imperatives. And these were observations and lessons that he worked on and he worked with each day as a spiritual practice. Each one carries with it a message of growth, things that he learned from the painful time that he walked through. I'm still reading the book. I'm only about a third of the way in, because he advises, because they're spiritual imperatives, he advises you not to read the whole book. He's like, read a few, digest it, move forward. So I'm pacing myself as best I can. But there's a theme that keeps popping up of how his search for fulfilling his endless need for validation, for recognition, for love, he kept trying to fulfill it from others, and it became a major source of his suffering. And then he finally came to a place where he truly understood that he was already whole. And until he could understand that, his suffering was going to continue. So this one imperative that he wrote really spoke to me in terms of today. He wrote, "You keep listening to those who seem to reject you, but they never speak about you. They speak about their own limitations. They confess their poverty in the face of your needs and desires. They simply ask for your compassion. They do not say that you are bad, ugly, or despicable. They say only that you are asking for something they cannot give and that they need to get some distance from you to survive emotionally. The sadness is that you perceive their necessary withdrawal as a rejection of you instead of as a call to return home and discover there your true belovedness." Yeah. So this past Wednesday was April 29th, which is remarkably the 24th anniversary of my friend Michael's passing, his graduation from Earth School. I mentioned Michael a few weeks ago in the talk on Given. Michael was a brilliant composer and lyricist, and at the time of his death, he had just completed work on a new musical based on a 1970s book called Sheila Levine is Dead and Living in New York. It's the story of an overweight Jewish girl named Sheila who so desperately needs to be seen, to be validated, and her quest for this leads her through some deeply painful learning experiences. And more than anything, it is her desire to be loved that pushes her. She wants fame and success and glamour. She wants all of that. However, the driving force for Sheila is her need for love. And this was also true for Michael. And at the time I knew him and supported him and worked with him on this musical, it was also true for me. Michael and I would sit for hours in his apartment eating Sara Lee pound cake and drinking lemonade and crying. And then he would say, "Okay, you ready to sing?" I'm like, "I'm phlegmy." I'm phlegmy now. But the finale of the show is when Sheila is led by her friend Martha to the epiphany that she is worthy, completely and totally worthy, simply because she's here. I'm not going to read you the entire lyrics to the whole song. We're actually going to listen to it during prayer time. I was able to get a recording, so we're going to listen to it during prayer. But I wanted to share some of the lyrics. Say you have a hope that you want to achieve. Say you don't achieve it. Anyone can say you're a flop. Even once did you stop and say, "I just don't believe it." Why do you believe that it's something you do, something that you get that is bigger than you, something that you prove, something that you earn, giving you the right to be here? You're here, aren't you? You're already here, aren't you? And you don't have to prove that you're great or you're special or strong. There's nothing to prove. If you're here, then you're where you belong. And near the end of the song, he goes on to say, no one else on the earth can decide what you're worth. You decide for yourself. You are worth every step that you take just because you're here. Sheila's journey is not an easy one. From total lack of self-worth to a place of embracing the simple fact that she is worthy by being alive. It doesn't happen like that. And it wasn't an easy journey for Michael. And it continues to be a challenging journey for me. And I'm guessing that it might also sometimes be a challenging journey for those in the room or those listening in consciousness. Maybe we've been told enough times that we are too whatever to believe that we could possibly be worthy of being here simply because we are here. And yet, here we are. And God doesn't make mistakes. Not one mistake. So there we are. Alan Cohen shared this great little brief story. He was at a conference and he met a psychotherapist named Leonard who said, I try to get my patients to accept and appreciate all of their feelings. I teach them that there is no such thing as a bad feeling. Anger, fear, sadness, all of us, all bring us valuable opportunities to awaken and grow. We must embrace all that we are and all that we experience. Later, I overheard another man telling someone about Leonard's work. And he said, yeah, I heard this therapist this morning who says we should tolerate ourselves. Leonard never used the word tolerate. He actually said celebrate ourselves. We should celebrate ourselves. And in that distinction lies the key to our healing. True healing begins with self-acceptance, not tolerating ourselves. We must embrace ourselves and rejoice in what we are. So even as I say that, why does that still feel so difficult? Why is that so hard? If you're like me, there's an immediate knee-jerk reaction to statements about my validity. You know, celebrate who you are, rejoice in who you are. And I have an immediate knee-jerk of, yeah, but. Yeah, but you don't really know me. Yeah, but I'm not really good at whatever. Yeah, but if that was true, wouldn't I be married by now? Yeah, but I'm still not whatever enough. Yeah, but. And I've come to the conclusion that if I said things, if other people said things to me the way I say things to myself, I wouldn't be their friend. Hello?
Ditch that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, bye-bye. So Miriam Greenspan wrote in this book, Healing Through Dark Emotions, we each have something to contribute to the global healing process, a particular gift or vision, skill or song. Individual healing has a lot to do with finding this gift and using it for the world's sake, finding our song and singing it out. When we find a way to manifest our gift and give it to the world, no matter how small or large it may seem, we are made whole. When we find it, when we give it, we are made whole. Not by anybody else. By us. It's a lot of responsibility. So it seems that every Sunday we find ourselves returning to familiar places. Gratitude, forgiveness, purpose, accountability. Because all of this work is always an inside job. It's our work to embrace the fact that because we're here on this planet in these fabulous human suits, that already means we're enough. It's a given. We're already enough. This doesn't mean that we can't work towards being better, whatever our concept of better is, or stronger, or more courageous, if we choose to, for ourselves. We always can. We could also accept ourselves for being the magnificent beings that we already are. The miraculous expressions of spirit that we already are. The brilliant, spacey, emotional, curvy, skinny, humble, confident, cranky, funny, loving, shy, broken, spectacular beings we already are right here, right now. We are signed up to do this. We signed up to do this dance before we were ever born. That's right, we can blame our past lives for whatever we don't want to deal with. But I love this quote. The mind is constantly trying to figure out what page it's on in the story of itself. Close the book. Burn the bookmark. End of story. Now the dancing begins. So let's consider ourselves, as of this moment, officially validated.